Let's talk about number 12th ranked coach on average, Deion Sanders. A bit polarizing, including between us two. You had him ranked 9. I had him ranked 15th out of 16. So I'll explain to you
Let
why I was a little bit lower.
Yeah, you go first. Let's hear it.
Now we talked about how recruiting is not as important as it is in other conferences. Like it's less important in the Big 12 than other conferences, right? And Deion Sanders did, turn out 4 wins is a big deal for what that roster was the year before previously. But the whole, hey, let's go land a bunch of transfer guys, waste a bunch of scholarships that we're not going to be able to get back unless we actually physically kick people off the team and remove scholarships, right? I'm not a big fan of that move. And it could work out in the future, but also I'm one of those people that like what happens when they lose Shador Sanders? Like what are they going to do? He meant everything. They don't win a single game last year without Shador Sanders. They do not. They don't win
No.
a single game. So when you're that reliant on someone to win football games, I don't know. It was a tough roster to rebuild, but I'm looking at some of these other guys that had just as tough of rosters. I mean, I think about Kenny Dillingham. I think Kenny Dillingham is doing a better job filling out his roster and recruiting at a higher level, getting in that younger talent. Like it feels like Dion is, trying to bring as much as he can to help his sons succeed and get drafted. That's what it feels like. Is that what you want? I don't know. I don't want to be accusatory like that, but it is pretty criminal to how many guys did he sign this year? How many
7.
really? 7 guys? I get it. You got Jordan Seed and Draylon Miller's pretty good. Like he was trying to be selective, but the reality is, you got to bring guys. Trust your development. And you had coaches also leaving. Charles Kelly leaving. Sean Lewis getting demoted mid-season after giving his son a shot at the Heisman for half of the season. I mean,
And,
pretty
and
ridiculous.
Pat Shermer, probably not the right hire at OC. I don't know if you're as I'm not very high on him. Yeah, I hear all that. I do. I do.
How about the
But
overtime game management? Like to start with the ball in offense against Colorado State. Like that to me is a coaching error. That is an error.
yes. In game is he well, he's also like super I guess he's not super experienced coaching, right? Like he kind of just got into it. He's only coached his sons. So I don't want to I don't want to go as far as like he's accusing of like, hey, I want to get this. What's best for my son? I'm going to cut a whole program just to get my sons drafted. I think it's more like, hey, we have a transcendent quarterback, right? Shador Sanders is actually really, really good. There's a small window, and we're going to try to maximize it, and then we'll figure what else is out. Whether I'm at Colorado still, or whether we can finally rebuild from there. You meant, yeah, yes. The questions about Colorado and Deion after Shador Sanders is really fascinating and definitely there. Like it's a big time question mark. But also, if you look at like overall rankings, and I get they brought in a ton of transfers again, 24 of them. But that means they're signing 7 guys, so that's 31 guys they're bringing in, which is typical of most programs, right? Like that's kind of about where you're at, 25 to 30 range, and they're 22nd overall, right? So which is higher than anybody else in the Big 12. But not only is it just it gets your composite rank and your transfer rank, and they're bringing some dudes that I really like on both sides of the line of scrimmage, which is a massive weakness for them. Yeah, I don't know. I just have I can't put him lower than 8 because or I put him at 9 because everyone else I was like, eh, I'm like either you haven't proven anything to me in the Big 12 or you've been there long enough and it's kind of like, okay, well, either you've peaked or maybe you peaked in a good year and it wasn't even a great year. So it's kind of like that. Deion Sanders inherited an awful roster, and he did he make it worse? No, but he didn't make it that much better. But they still won some games. They were competitive in a lot of them. Yeah, I don't know. I think year 2 was always going to be a massive difference in year 1, and we'll see. To me, I'm kind of holding out hope. And I'm like, hey, I like some of these transfers. You only got to hit on a couple of them on both sides of the football, and you still have elite wide receiver room. You have elite quarterback. You've got some playmakers in that secondary. Why not? Why not? Is the depth there? No, but that's what's going to happen when you have a transfer portal class. So, yes, in terms of longevity, that's why I have him down at 9. But to be honest, like Gus Malzahn. How impressive were they in year one, right? UCF. How impressive was Joey McGuire in Texas Tech this year? I get it, injuries. I get that. Even Matt Campbell, Sonny Dykes, guys like that. I get Sonny Dykes had success, and so has Matt Campbell. But just recently, like, what's really going on. So yeah, I think Deion. I don't know. I just could not place him lower than I did because knowing that anytime you doubt him, you're probably going to be proven wrong. And we'll see a lot of people questioning, like you, questioning his commitment to Colorado long term. And is it sustainable? I don't think so. But I think in terms of going in for this year and getting Shador to stay, having Shiloh there, some pretty darn good corners, talented receiver room, and it really attacking, like throwing a bunch of darts at the wall for your offensive line and defensive line. We'll see.
I mean, how many of these transfers though have more than 1 year of eligibility left? Right, like the really good, like the Tyler Johnson, right? I don't think he has any eligibility left after this year. Will Shepherd, I don't think he does. I don't think LeJohntay Wester does. Um, I'm not sure. BJ Green might have a year left after, but a lot of these guys don't. Okunlolo, I think, was a really good get because he is younger, and same with Quincy Wiggins,
That'd
especially
be
on that
one of
offensive
those
line. But
guys.
does Preston Hodge have another year of eligibility? Yeah, he does. He does. But like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. You really do need a quarterback though to come in after Shador Sanders, and I don't like the. We've seen teams that come in without quote unquote guy and do well, right? But it's not gonna happen if you're not good along the line of scrimmage, right? Like like West Virginia. Although Garrett Green might be a guy, you know. But just it just feels something feels off to me, and it's a different approach than I've ever seen, than anyone I think has ever seen. It could end up working out, and he could shoot his way up on these rankings, but I have him low because it's not how I would do it, I guess. And is that the wrong thing to say? Because there's not one right way to do things, but I don't know. Just I don't know, man. I don't know. So I'm sure this is very polarizing. We're gonna get people in the comments on one side of the spectrum, another like, oh, he brought this team to 4 wins. Oh, he had a Heisman Trophy contending quarterback for a while. Like, and then you're also gonna have people that are like, this is not sustainable. This is so. I guess you and I are part of that polarizing group, and we'll see. We'll see. This is a very polarizing ranking, I think, for a lot of people.